As you all know, many laptops have a bad battery life this year, especially for Ultrabooks with Intel CPU, which only lasting for 4 to 5 hours. Disappointed, so I want to know if the tips on social media are useful. I brought 3 laptops and I really found something interesting after the tests. Please press likes and we will check it out. Let's look at the 3 participants, which are Ultrabooks from HP. They all have a good battery life as Windows laptops. They're 5th Gen ProBook with Ryzen, EliteBook 845 G8 with Ryzen, and Elite Dragonfly. We have 12th Gen Intel and AMD, as well as LCD and OLED. The 2 Ryzen laptops have the 1W screen, which consuming 1W at low brightness, extending the battery life. We need to set a benchmark before testing. This time, we still use script from Geek, including Office, browser, chatting, and music apps. With them all running, the laptop is under medium to high load. The brightness was fixed at 200 nit. Office mode was on. The EliteBook was the best and lasted about 10 hours, then ProBook, about 8 hours, Dragonfly was the last, only 6 hours. Intel laptop seems like a little weaker this year. We also tested the 3 in PC Mark X, with internet disconnected, 120 nit brightness, and without any tasks for this laptop. It's not a big load for the 3, and they did last longer this time. EliteBook take the lead with 19 hours, which is 1,145 minutes. Comparing with the high-load script, we have some interesting conclusions. First, AMD's performance was expected. They lasted a longer time at PC Mark X, but only half as good under high-load test. As for Dragonfly with Intel CPU, the time span is no difference. Let the battery capacity be divided by battery life. We can have their average consumption, which is clear to us. What makes Dragonfly's battery life poor is the high consumption at light loads. PC Mark X, average consumption was 8.6 W, double that of the 2 AMD laptops. In that case, it's no surprise. But at medium and high load, Intel is pretty good. The consumption during the script test only added by 2.6 W compared to PC Mark X, lower than the 2 AMD laptops, but Intel has a high consumption at standby status. There is no way to beat the other 2. If your starting line is 50 meters behind others, you won't stand a chance in this 100 meter race. But I didn't consider the brightness, since I don't have time to test it again at 200 nit. However, it won't change the result. Now that we have a benchmark, let's start testing. First, you may think Eco mode would be helpful. So I tested the 3 laptops at Eco mode. This time, I turn off the auto darkening and keep the brightness at 200 nit. But things went wrong. Except for Dragonfly. The other 2 would sleep without consuming all the battery. Even if the relevant options were turned off, still not helpful. So I had to do a math problem, dividing the time span by the battery percentage, to estimate their performances. It is not precise, but it can still be used for reference. So here it is. First, the 2 AMD laptops. The battery life is indeed extended in Eco mode. ProBook, more than 1 hour extension. EliteBook, 50 minutes extension. But Dragonfly made me confused. Being the only one to hit a home run, it has no improvement at Eco mode. I was so confused. We tested it again and again, but the result remained. I can only explain that the Eco mode optimization is not very good. As a 1 kilogram Ultrabook, its performance disappointed me. As we all know, the Eco mode is to extend battery life through underclocking. I found a large Excel table of 38 meters for sorting test. The results showed that all the 3 laptops had a bad performance. Dragonfly was also not an exception. For 2 AMD laptops, Eco mode is trading performance for a longer battery life. But for Dragonfly, Eco mode is nonsense. Less duration, lower performance. So the Eco mode is not a panacea. Here's the next. Another reason maybe is the brightness. All three screens claim to have a brightness of 400 nit. The peak brightness is better than those 300 nit screens, and they have a wide range of brightness. We fixed the brightness at 200 nit, which is comfortable in a bright room. For comparison, we also tested at 120 nit, which is the bottom line for daily use. You have to put up the curtains to see the screen. The result is interesting. The two LCD laptops had a significant extension. But Dragonfly with OLED didn't change a lot at a different brightness. Maybe it's the difference in screen materials. IPS is just like LCD. With a whole light emitting module, higher brightness will lead to a higher consumption. But for OLED, each pixel works independently. When lowering the brightness from 200 nit to 120 nit, only the white pixel went down. Other pixels didn't change a lot. I can tell you that. No matter how the white pixels change, pixel dots in the black part are not operating, totally different from LCD screens. That's why lowering the brightness would not helpful for OLED laptops. Only realized this today too. Since the two laptops have the 1W screen, they are definitely doing well. If they use a normal IPS screen, maybe the result won't be so obvious. We also tested at highest brightness, but this result is for your reference only. We can see that OLED didn't change a lot. The other two were highly affected, with 2 hours missing in battery life. Maybe the larger screen was part of the reason. Besides brightness, there is also a factor, which is the theme color. Since dark colors allow OLED to save power, so does a dark theme. It is true, but just a tiny difference, which is 24 minutes. But the default theme of Dragonfly is dark color. Besides extending the battery life, it is more about deferring the screen from overheating and getting damaged. An external keyboard and mouse will also reduce the laptop's battery life. I found a keyboard and mouse set. Turn off the RGB, no input operations. And after the same script test, all three laptops witnessed a drop in battery life. EliteBook was the worst, 2 hours less. ProBook, 1 hour. Dragonfly, 52 minutes. Don't forget, we didn't use the input devices, so the actual duration should be worse. Let's look at their average energy consumption. We can see that even if we use the same set of input devices, the increased consumption is different. ProBook added less than 1 W. Elite and Dragonfly added almost to W. We need to blame Elite's design. Its ports are connected to the motherboard, they are not integrated, which brings such extra energy consumption. But for the Dragonfly, since it has only one USB-A, we had to use a connector, so that we can both connect keyboard and mouse. The impact of external devices is still quite obvious. So if you want to keep it a little longer, please unplug the external mouse and keyboard. Today, we tested the impact of 3 factors on the battery life, eco mode, brightness, and external input devices. And we discussed the impact of different CPUs and screens. I have to say, too many obstacles. And the result is beyond my expectation. The most surprising thing to me is that eco mode is not a panacea. External devices has a stronger impact. Brightness is not a strong impact for OLED laptops. Honestly, it is not a perfect test. We had only tested 3 factors, which is not enough. I hope you can understand. Last, if you value the battery life, I have some advice for you. First, same design and specs. AMD is more power efficient. Intel has a better performance, but its battery life is worse. Not only the laptops we tested today, other Intel laptops are also worse than Ryzen laptops. Like I said, Intel laptops have a higher base consumption. Maybe the 13th gen will make a difference. Second, less external devices. We only tested keyboard and mouse this time, and without input operations. The negative impact has already been seen, let alone headset, flash drive, and mobile HD. If you do not physically remove the flash drive, then the heat will never stop. That's why I suggest you unplug it after use. Third, lower the brightness. During the tests above, we know that brightness plays a key role in IPS screens. especially the 16-inch EliteBook. Lowering it to 200 nit gives you an extra 2 hours of battery. Continue to turn down. The lowest consumption is only 1 W, which means a much longer battery. For users who always turn up the brightness to the maximum, turning it down a little will bring longer battery life. Fourth, clean the background apps. You should do this regularly. Often forget to close the pages. And too many Chrome pages can be a heavy burden for your laptop. For some software that claims to be able to clean your laptop, they will only consume your power like crazy and will not bring you any improvement. Don't be deceived by them. Fifth, remember to charge. Don't let the power run out completely. Lithium batteries have no memory effect. Don't be deceived by online rumors. This will not only do no good, but will damage the battery. For laptops, the best way is to reduce the number of cycles of the battery. Alright, that's all for today. Oh, the time is not long, it took us half a month to do it. If this video can help you, please hit like and subscribe to our channel, which is the best stimulation for me. If you want to know more, please follow us on WeChat official account. I will talk about a laptop there every day to provide info and guidance. This is BIBA Laptops. I'm Juan. See you next time.